Members of the Board of Securities Commission Malaysia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. I'm very pleased to see all of you here today at the Securities Commission's SC by SC FinTech Conference 2019. I would like to thank you for taking the time to be here today. And I know that for those of you who flew in from abroad, especially for this conference, I say welcome to Kuala Lumpur. If you are here for the first time, I hope that you have had some time to enjoy the sights and the wonderful cuisine that our city has to offer. I would also like to thank our distinguished panel of speakers who have kindly agreed to speak at this event. We have an excellent lineup of presenters over these next 2 days, and I'm sure that you will find these discussions very informative. Our sincerest appreciation also goes to our partners, Rakuten, MDAC, PNB, our exhibitors, as well as the media. Your continued support has been immensely valuable in buttressing the SC's industry digitization program. As many of you know, SC by SC is an annual platform for discussions on fintech developments which are relevant to the capital market, and also it showcases a few of SC's focus areas in this space. This may include innovative business models, emerging technology with potential scope for application within the Malaysian capital market. A bit of history. The SC by SC was held in 2014. The first SC by SC, was held in 2014. Our initial objective then was simply to build an awareness on equity crowdfunding and peer-to-peer financing as an alternative means of fundraising for startups and SMEs. At that point in time, the Malaysian fintech industry was very much in its early stages with very few participants and relatively low awareness amongst investors. Now move the clock by 5 years to 2019, significant progress has been made. Early entrants have since expanded with a corresponding increase in their client base, and general public awareness has also risen in tandem. That is why one of the focus areas of this conference is scaling up, which addresses how fintech platforms can break through the next stage of their growth. And at the same time, Malaysia has also been recognized as a global leader in Islamic finance, not only in terms of equities and sukuk, but also fund management. Recognizing the opportunities in the intersection between Islamic finance and fintech, this year we are introducing the topic of Islamic fintech in this conference. We believe this remains a largely untapped segment in our current ecosystem, and I look forward to discussions on how Malaysia's potential may be unlocked in this area. Already we have seen early success in this in Wahid and ET's ventures. And on another topic of discussion, which I may add is particularly timely, is the issue of digital divide. Now, this is of particular relevance to emerging markets, including Malaysia. Now, as we continue to embrace fintech, it is important for innovation to be responsible and inclusive, and to avoid excluding communities' access to infrastructure such as internet access and smart devices. Providing equitable access to the capital market is an area to which SCs pay particular attention, and I hope that our expert from the World Bank will be able to shed some light on this issue. Promoting capital market digitization is an important priority for the SC. We believe that harnessing the full potential of technology is critical, as a well-functioning capital market is a key enabler for economic growth and transformation. As Malaysia re-engineers the real economy to build competitiveness in the age of IR 4.0, so too must the capital market be modernized in tandem. The SC's priorities in this area are articulated in our digital agenda for the capital market. The agenda introduced in 2016 has 4 objectives, namely enhancing access to financing, 2, increasing investor participation, 3, augmenting the institutional markets, and 4, developing a synergistic ecosystem. Now, we have made significant progress on various fronts in 2019, and I would just like to take a few minutes of their time to share with you the updates on these. Now, in terms of enhancing access to financing, the Malaysian ECF and P2p markets have grown by leaps and bounds. Collectively, these platforms have raised more than 550 million ringgit and benefiting close to 1,600 micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs. It should also be noted that these platforms deploy financing to a diverse range of sectors, and these include high-tech, education, retail, F&B, and consumer products. Moreover, they have also attracted many new investors into the capital market, particularly below the age of 35, which incidentally accounts for more than 50% of the retail investors. Building on this momentum, this year the SC has registered 3 new ECF and 5 new P2p financing platforms. The entry of these new operators will enable wider range of products to be offered to issuers who have more varied and specific needs. I'm also pleased to note that the ECF market has seen its first 2 exits. Sekolah Fund is a social enterprise on crowdfunding scholarships for university students. It initially fundraised on Atta Plus platform in 2017 and was recently acquired by one of Asia's biggest donation crowdfunding platforms. Another issuer also, MyCash Online, which caters to the needs of unbanked migrants, was also recently acquired after initial fundraising on Pitchin. Both of these deals not only provided ECF investors with a healthy return on their capital, but also facilitated the growth of the business with social objectives. Now, both these exits that it shows that ECF could be a viable asset class for investors. And it is also a medium to finance not only commercial, but also social enterprises. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of Belanjawan 2019, Budget 2019, the government announced the Malaysia Co-Investment Fund, or MyCIF, with an allocation of 50 million ringgit to co-invest on a 1-to-4 basis via our ECF and P2p platforms, which has been successfully operationalized this year. Now for Belanjawan 2020, Budget 2020, I'm also pleased to note that an additional of 50 million ringgit has been allocated to this fund. Now, recognizing the importance of building financially sustainable social enterprises, an additional 10 million was also allocated to MyCIF. And this is specifically to co-invest on a 1-to-1 basis in social enterprises via P2p Financing Platform. We expect this injection of funds to further spur the growth of Malaysian MSMEs through our ECF and our P2p platforms. Finally, the SC has also introduced guidelines for property crowdfunding, which provides an alternative financing avenue for first-time home buyers. I think last month we have registered the first PCF, or property crowdfunding platform, in Malaysia, and they should be in operation very soon. At the same time, the SC also aims to boost, amongst others, introducing new and easily accessible investment channels. In 2017, we introduced the regulatory framework for digital investment management, or DIM in short, which is more widely known as robo-advisors. Today, Malaysia has 3 licensed and fully operational robo-advisors, namely Stashaway, MyTheo, and Wahid. Another 2 parties have received approval in principle and should be fully operational in early next year. We continue to see strong interest in this space, and we will pursue to facilitate its growth. We also have with us here today Mr. Eli Braverman and Mr. Jeff Cruttenden, the co-founders of the 2 renowned robo-advisors, to share their success of their experience in this area with those of you who should be interested in this area. To further diversify Malaysia's digital capital market space, in January this year, the SC had introduced regulatory framework for digital asset exchange, or DAX in short, and we have 3 DAX operators which have subsequently been registered in June this year. Now, underpinning these efforts is our commitment to develop a synergistic ecosystem. And in doing this, the SC and our regulated platform operators have actively conducted engagement and education programs to raise awareness about the fintech ecosystem in Malaysia. At the same time, the SC also collaborates closely with regional and global peer regulators to share our knowledge and experience, while also learning from developments in other markets. Such collaboration also allow us to participate and play an active role in jurisdictional benchmarking exercises. One such exercise is the Global Alternative Finance Regulation Survey. This was jointly conducted by the World Bank and the Cambridge Centre for Alternative Finance at the University of Cambridge Judge Business School between April and June 2019. More than 110 jurisdictions responded to this survey focusing on P2p financing, ECF, and initial coin offerings. The final report will be launched by the World Bank this afternoon. During this session, the relevant experts and survey authors will be sharing some of the key findings arising from this study. I'm pleased to note that Malaysia has been identified as one of the most benchmarked against jurisdictions globally, and it stands out as a regional leader, particularly in equity crowdfunding. In conclusion, I'm happy to say that 2019 has been an extremely busy year with multiple new ECF, P2p financing, and DEX operators, as well as the DIM registered by the SCE. We are encouraged by the rising level of interest, and we hope that the momentum will continue to accelerate in the coming years. Looking ahead to 2020, we will continue to advance our digital agenda by building on the foundations laid over the last few years. There will be several exciting new initiatives coming your way in the coming year, and I hope that I can count on your support. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to draw my opening remarks to a close. Thank you once again for being here, and I look forward to the discussions at SCE by SCE 2019. Thank you.